All right, this is kind of the design that we're going to be making today. I'm going to change it a little bit. It's also going to be on a bigger piece of paper. I just did this as an example. Let's talk first about your colors that you're going to need. You're going to need your really light blue. You're going to need your white. You're going to need this blue-green color. You're going to need this color right here. It's kind of a bluish purple. I have pieces of it here. You're going to need this color. And you're going to need this here medium pink color so that you can get some of the other colors. You're also going to wind up needing a green, light green, grass green, and a teeny bit of yellow and black. So that's a lot of colors at first. Just note, we're going to be working on them in bits and pieces. Now, this is white paper, and we're going to be starting off with white, but it's going to be too hard for you to see that. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to be starting off using a different color than white. But one of the things that we want to note is here, this white is dirty. If you take a paper towel and clean it off, lo and behold, you now have a clean color. So that's one of the important things to know. I see that my yellow is dirty, so I want to make sure there's that. All these colors, you want to make sure they're nice and clean. So I'm going to start off with this extremely, extremely light green from a different set so that we can do this. I'm going to start off with my first one over here. I want to have something with a little bit of a curve. So I'm going to start here. I'm just going to bring that line down. I know that that's not very dark, but there you go. There's my line down. And then I'm going to have another line that curves here. And then this one is going to curve over this way. Oh, as you can see, I'm moving my stuff off. It makes marks. And then I'm going to have a line with a slight curve there. Those are going to be my main areas that I have it. So you are doing all that in white. So you have all of this done in white because that's going to be the brightest areas of our Aurora Borealis. So there we are. I've done it in white. Now I'm going to take my blue. Break it. Oh, well, if it breaks, we're going to break it anyways. And I'm going to use the side of it to go over my white area. I'm going to go over it on these, all of them. And I'm going to go back to my white and make it very much more pronounced. So I went a little bit firmer pressure, getting my white in there, going over that blue. It kind of blends it in a little bit. That's what we're wanting to do. We want to have a nice blend. We're working on things smoothly and slowly, just building up colors. So we're going to come in here again. I'm going to make this a little bit bigger. The idea is this here kind of, it comes down in sheets. So I'm just going to draw a couple lines going here like that. So I have kind of a mess, but it's what we're going to do. Now I'm going to use this blue-green color, and I'm also going to break it. And I'm going to come in here next to this because I want a blue-green, and I'm taking it next to each side of my white and bringing it around. So I'm going to come on down, bring it here, how it goes. As you can see, I'm just using the side of it. I'm using extremely light pressure right now. I know it might be hard to see, but this is what we're doing. That's what we're going to do. So we're going to come in now with our lighter blue. I'm going to start building out a little bit. Not super hard pressure because we don't want it to be too wide. But we're going to come in and add a little bit to either side of our white there. Again, a couple areas in here where you go a little bit darker. Keeping with some of the curves because the Aurora always moves. And when you have it together like this, it's called sheet Aurora. It comes down in sheets. So That's why it's called that way. Really beautiful. So coming along either side of my white, coming and getting all this in here and blending out a little bit more. I'm going to come in, and before I go too much further, I'm actually going to start adding in some of my other colors. So this here is that bluish purple color. I chose it. It's technically, it's like an ultramarine blue. So we're going to put that right here, kind of coming in a little bit, going around our piece, because we want to have those dark areas that we're going to blend in with the dark sky. So by adding it in here lightly, I'm getting those values in there that I needed to get. And it's nothing too fancy again. Coming in, you will be doing layers. That's the whole point of all this, is to do some layers. Now I'm coming over here. This is where I have some other colors. So I'm going to take my fabulous pink and I'm going to put it on its side and kind of make a V, right? And over here on this here one, I'm going to add a little bit over here and then also down here and then right here. So those are all my little hot pink areas. We'll be adding in other colors. We're going to come in here with our blue-green right there with it, just in that area. And then we're going to use our lime green just a little bit. And we're going to keep it just those two for now. I might use the dark green at some other point. Then we're going to use the darkest blue, which is a Prussian blue. That's the name of it. It's beautiful. It's gorgeous. Again, using the side of it, we're going to fill in all the rest of this white area, getting it all together. I'm moving my paper around so you can see where I'm at. Just using the side of my oil pastel. Just using that side to get it all in there. So at this moment in time, I have a little bit of oil pastel over my whole thing. And now this is where I'm going to start going in and just adding in colors. I'm going to use some hard pressure here with this white right in here. Going to add it on top. Kind of pick and choose my areas. White is going to be your brightest section that you have. And as you can see, if I press hard, it goes in there. I'm not going to do all of it. You choose where you want. Make it look the way you like it to. And then I'm going to come in again with my blue right on the edges. Still not going super hard pressure with this one because I want to blend it in with my blue-green to get that blue-green feel in there. Just kind of going here along the center. And then again over here. Blending it up, just making sure that I follow along those edges of my white because that's where we want it to be. It's the white is the brightest, and then we're just kind of blending it in with us. Blending it in. Now I'm going to take my blue-green, and this is where I'm going to go in a little bit more, blending it into that medium, that light blue. Just kind of a streak there. It's a narrow strip that I'm going to go in. Are you going to see me going back and forth between colors a lot? Yes. It's about blending. That's going to be your important thing. And I'm going to skip every once in a while. I think I'm going to put some next here, my white. So I'm going to put it up over here. Not always going in the same areas. That's why this is going to look a little bit different for each of us. Every single one of us will have a little bit different things. I'm making this video now. When I do this in class with y'all, it'll be just a little bit different there too. Again, just doing some lines here, filling it in, constantly changing, making it look how I want, because it's up to me. This here is my piece. I can decide where I want my lines, because this is my creation. We're going a little bit similar. We're all doing it together. It'll look good. Coming in here, going on the edges, blending out, using the side a little bit. Just playing with the color, getting my layers built up. It's about building layers. We want to build lots of layers. I'm going to go back in with my blue here and kind of blend out a little bit more. Just choosing where I want that blended. Jagged edges. So I'm kind of going back and forth between these colors here, right? Back and forth. That's what we want to do. Back and forth with your colors. Build up those skills. Make it so that it is uniquely yours, but also gives you that understanding of how to use oil pastels. Oil pastels are amazing to use. If I stop talking, it's just because I'm concentrating. So I've gone over all over here. I'm going to go up here with my pink again. Kind of do my V there. Started blending up here. Note, when you go in with that blue, it starts to almost make a purple. That's kind of what we want. All these colors blending. Do a little bit up here. Side, I'm going to have a little up there. Just depends on where you want it. So I'm going to go in with my darker blue because I really like to start doing that. I'm actually going to add in a little bit of pink up here. Give it a little bit of, I don't know, pizzazz up there. So I'm going to go in with my ultramarine blue and I'm going to start building in those colors. I'm not going super hard, but I am definitely putting more pressure on there. Getting that jagged edge to look in there, see what happens. Blending areas where it looks like it's melding together a little bit. So this takes a while to do. It's not something that's going to be done instantaneously. It is time consuming, but I am going in and adding my, I feel like I'm saying the wrong color when I say ultramarine blue. I can see the name in my head. I know what it is, but I'm not quite sure if I'm using the right one. So we'll just keep going with ultramarine blue. It's nice and bluish purple. Now we want to have these darker colors in here because this is happening at night. But note, we have not used any black yet because black will overpower everything really, really quickly. And we don't want to overpower our colors. We want to have them blend out and be really nice. So I'm going to go in with my Prussian blue, which is the darkest blue I have. And we're going to come in and we're going to start adding in a little bit more dark to these areas. Going over where the ultramarine blue was, kind of picking and choosing. Again, I'm following along with the patterns that I made. I have these lines that I drew up. So I'm going to continue following them along here and getting some rich depth in there by adding all these layers. Sometimes going to go a little bit darker. The nice thing about this Prussian blue is it's got almost a green tone to it. So when you blend it in with the blacks, it'll give you that beautiful midnight night sky look. Because you want it to be looking like it's at night. Because that's the only time you can see the aurora is at night. Well, I don't know. There might be times where you can see it during the day. I have not experienced that. Usually it's at night. So, see, I went a little bit darker over here, going back in, adding in my colors, kind of making it blend out. Again, down here, I can add a little bit darker, with the Prussian blue because this is all going to be dark down here. Going back in. So one of the things that I want to make sure that we are all very aware of is this is all about layers. There is nothing here that says this is going to be done all in one go. You can do it that way, but it may not look as nice. And for all intents and purposes, because what we're learning here, we're going to be doing it in layers. So what I'd like to do here is I'm going to go back in with my green here, my blue-green, and I'm going to start blending out some of these colors to get these sheet marks, sheet movements. So I'm coming in and blending in some of the colors, leaving some gaps because I want it to look like it's coming down in a waterfall, a sheet of water. So is it going to be exact and accurate? Not quite, but we're still getting some beautiful colors in there. Blending it out, getting something in here that we like. And I just kind of move around as I think it's going to work. I am pulling from another person's work that I saw them picture of. I liked how they did it with the picture. So I'm kind of, because I couldn't find their video on it, just kind of making it up as I go. I'm going to go in with my pink here. I want to get my pink up in there and get it going. It's usually a little bit hazy because pink and red is not often seen in the Borealis. It's one of those rarer colors, but it always looks good. If you see it and the stars are red in the background, it means they used a filter. It's not real. And I'm going to go back in with my blue and start blending over these areas again. Making sure that it's blending in. I'm using a little bit more pressure. Just blending, blending, blending. You want to get beautiful blends so that it all looks natural and smooth. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm just blending in with my colors. And right now I've just chosen the blue to blend in with the sky blue. Does this mean it's gonna stay this way? No, probably not. I'll probably go back and add some other colors in there again, just to get all those different tones. I like how it goes over this ultramarine blue here. It's really good. Lightens it up. I'm gonna move up here. Trying to get in these colors. All right, looking good, or else I'm pleased with it. If yours doesn't look like mine, does it mean it's not good? No, it means it's still good. It just means it's different. I'm going to go in with my white here and kind of blend out some of these colors. Give out some of those points just to see how I like it. My white is a beautiful blender. It can blend anything. It does make it lighter, but that's not always a bad thing, so long as you don't overuse it, especially if you're trying to go with darker things. If you have more oil pastels, like a wider variety, and they have some really light pastel-y colors in there, you can always use those to blend it too, to get in some of those colors. Now, over here, I'm doing more over the pink so that it gets soft. I want it to be soft. I'm going to pause and add some of my blue green in there. And then my green, bringing it down. And then I'm going to come back in with my white and make it look all soft, because that's going to be really important, making it soft and flowy. As you can see, it's starting to kind of blend into each other. Pick up my blue green, blend it in here. Have my lime green go over the top right there. Little bits, just back and forth. I'm going to add just a bit of the dark green, just the tiniest amount, because I don't need it there too much. And then I'm going to go in with my pink again. And then I'm going to just use my finger there just to blend that out real quick. So, blending it in, making it so it's happy. Getting all those colors in there. Blend, blend, blend. So I'm actually going to go in and start adding in some of these darker areas that I want. Note, it's not going to be super dark because I have to go back over it with the Prussian blue. So this is my blue violet. Just going in here, kind of fidgeting, deciding where I want it. It's always going to be on the outer edges where it's darker because we want it to be those darker colors, those darker tones. Get it going, making it look kind of jagged. Sometimes you just got to pull those colors in and pull them out. Making it work for you. Okay, so I'm going to show you what I'm doing with my Prussian blue down here. So I've gotten those colors. I'm going to come in with my Prussian blue and start getting some of these darker tones in here because I want to have it read as little gaps in the sky that the stars are coming through. You're getting a little bit heavy layers here. That's why we went with lighter pressure and we haven't done dark, heavy, heavy, heavy pressure. But this is where one of those areas I want to have just the smallest amount of black, because when I then take my Prussian blue over it, it gives me my really dark sky tone. And I'm not using a lot of pressure with my black, just the smallest amount, because when I go back in with my Prussian blue and blend it, it becomes super, super dark. And that's one of the things that we want to see. We're going to be doing that super dark color. And of course, I'm going with these angles here to make it look like it's dragging out. So I'm going over my ultramarine blue with my Prussian, dragging it out in those areas. Again, if I want it to be a little bit darker, add a little bit of black, go in, pull it out. So I get those lines, right? Just making it blend. So this is how we're going to finish it up. Going back and forth between our colors. How you do it is yours. You can watch along. I'm going to stop talking so that you can just watch if you want and go along with me. But I want to just speed through this so you're not listening to me for the next 20 or 30 minutes finishing this up. So watch along, work along, make it yours. Prussian blue with black all blended in the back. And now this is where we're going to go through and tighten up this here area so it looks a little bit more realistic. This is where you kind of go in and you start blending your colors back out into that Prussian blue. You drag them off so you have that color that's going out there, that wispy edge. That's beautiful, beautiful edge. So I'm going to go in with my blue-green and kind of come in, decide where it's going. I can put it over the top and it'll still read. It reads really beautifully because we want it to be kind of that bluish green color mostly. We'll go in with the blue, the light blue in a couple areas here too. But here we are, we're going in, pulling it out, getting that nice, wispy, beautiful movement that is happening with the Aurora as it goes along. Just kind of filling in, pulling it out, allowing it to just kind of blend finally into itself. And this is why we do all these layers, is so that it can just kind of blend in. Just give it a little something to meld with. You really want to have your oil pastels blending in, because as they blend in, they create something even more beautiful than if you just went straight up and did them that way. Get this delicate, fine, wispy look that kind of comes down into your dark areas and gives you that, well, the movement that occurs with the Aurora Borealis. Just kind of going up, choosing to add a little bit more every once in a while, because it's not always really, really vibrant. When we paint and make imitations of the Aurora Borealis, we make it much more vibrant and bold than it really is. Don't get me wrong, there's some brilliant, beautiful, bold aurora out there, but it doesn't always show up that way. So, I've got this color in. I'm going to go back to my sky blue and get some of those areas that I want in there, a little bit more sky blued. I am going to go back in with my white here in just a minute, just to get it bounce to my pink here, get this piece in here that I wanted. See, I'm going to draw up here. You can't see it very well, but in person you'll be able to see these pink highlights that I'm adding in here on the darker areas. Getting them to flow out into my dark background, the night sky. Pushing colors up, blending them out, letting them all kind of mix. Because that's what you want, is you want this mixing and blending to happen. It gives you that ethereal look. It's just moving across your paper. I am, as you can see, just kind of bouncing back and forth between areas. And the reason is because I see an area and then that's where I'm going to go. It's not on purpose. It's just going there and seeing what needs to be added or adjusted. And again, it's your own personal aesthetics that's really going to determine that. This is how mine looks. Could yours look very different? Yes, it could. Is that okay? It is beautiful and brilliant that it's okay. You want to be the best you that you are. So I'm going to go back in and see here. I want my white. So this is where I'm going to go in and make sure I have my nice bright white areas. Do I want to add some others? Yep, just going in and having some highlights here and there, making sure that I'm aware of where I want my white to be. Again, kind of trying to keep that same motion of blending it up with the others. Keeping it so that it's beautiful. And it's going to be beautiful. You made it. Okay, so I'm going to touch up a couple areas here with my Prussian blue that aren't dark enough for me because I missed them. Then I'm going to take a step back and look at this and decide, am I done? Is this really how I want it to look? Sometimes when you have an image of the aurora right there next to you that you're imitating, that sometimes helps too, so that you can see if you captured that beautiful movement that they took with the camera, or if you need to change some things up. See, I keep going back in and adding a little bit more jagged edges to my colors so that I have that like movement. I know I keep saying movement, that shattered, I want to say shattered, shearing beauty that you get with the sheet aurora. So there we are. Coming in. I think right now what I have is going to be what I'm good with for my aurora. Now, the next thing is we're going to be looking at trees. Trees are one of those things that you can do really well or really, really bad. I'm trying to get a piece of paper here and not succeeding. Okay, so I'm going to set this off to the side for a moment so we can talk about trees. Trees are really cool. When we do this, we don't want trees like this. Oops, I always do that wrong. No, that's a bad tree. What we're going to do is we're going to use our stuff in the movement that we have. So to draw a pine tree going up, just do some lines, right? Now they are narrower at the top than they are at the bottom. And because they want to go to the light, we have a little small curve on the edge. Now, when they go up, that's where it is. You can have some gaps. And one of the things that I found when I do this is instead of going back up and constantly picking up my oil pastel, I just keep moving back and forward with it, making it go out. Choosing to have all those different layers of my pine tree, my evergreens, whatever one it is, so that it looks like a natural actual tree. And one of the things is we want to make sure that our trees are curling up as we're going. And they look like that. Again, I'm not lifting up my tree, my oil pastel much. Down here, I can see that I'm going to run into it. That's okay. Give myself a little gap. My trees, if they melt into each other, that's okay. Draw over the lines. Make your tree, pretend it's the only one there and you are getting that beautiful curve that you want. So that's how we do our trees. On our final piece, how we do it is where we take our black. And we're going to kind of decide how we want to do this. We can kind of make it look so it's curved. And we have a couple of them that are straight here. So I'm going to draw a couple lines over here And as I'm going, because I want to make it look like I did a wide angle lens on my camera for the shoot, is I'm kind of making them go down here to the corner, to the end. And I'm going to decide where I want it to be, how tall I want that one. And I'm going to start in with my lines with my black. This is a heavier moment with your oil pastel, but again, remember, by keeping your oil pastel constantly moving there, it's going to look more natural. We're going to get those curves out in there, and we're going to make it look like the trees are being captured and brought to life by the Aurora Borealis. So that's what I'm doing here. I'm getting all my pine trees in there, making them look how I want, and I'm taking it all the way down to the bottom of the paper, because we don't want to leave it so it's kind of hanging up. Like I said again, remember, pretend that this is the only tree that you're doing. Even if it runs into the other one, still keep those branches and those boughs coming out so that you have it, because it adds to the character of the piece. It makes it look like you did all of it, and you have like these empty spaces in here you can't see very well on mine because it's super dark. But that's how we get our trees to look like they're there, and heavy black going over this blue, and it's like we're on the ground looking up into this majestic experience that some people are very lucky to experience a lot in their lives.